Now, overview. As I stated, HCM is human capital management. So here we are going to manage people. So that is the core backbone of any organization. Okay. If you have your most loyal and most hardworking employees with you, with the organization, and you are following the right processes and everything, right? Then the company will definitely grow. You will never face any challenges. Now, the fact is, there are different modules which is there in HCM, right? So we discussed as if as of that there are 8 to 9 modules within HCM, and Workday has 3 parts. As I stated, Workday has HCM, Finance, and Workday Student, just like PeopleSoft. And why I'm saying that it is just like PeopleSoft, because people who created, the individuals who created PeopleSoft are the same people who created Workday also, right? And that's the reason they knew that one day PeopleSoft will be retiring. Then what will happen? How will the people, uh, you know, those who are going to use it will be upgraded or move to different systems? So for that purpose, Oracle brought in their ERP system, which is Oracle Fusion. But to be very honest, it has a lot of bugs in that right now. And the fact is, there's a lot of product limitations as well. Another thing is, um, this is still under a lot of development. It is already rolled out in the market, but the only factor which is the price. The price of Oracle Fusion is less in comparison to all others, and that's one of the reasons why it is successful. Okay. The rest, if I talk about any other HCM tool in the market, no one is able to beat Workday at the moment, and it is growing rapidly, exponentially, I would say. Okay. So, what are the different modules that we have discussed? So, it starts with core HCM, guys. Okay. So, core HCM is something which is very important if you have to learn Workday, even if you are from a different HCM background. See, guys, the concept will not change. Any HCM system, wherever you use, concepts will be the same. It will not change, but the way of doing things will change. The way of writing things will change. And that is what we have to remember. Okay. Um, so as I stated, there are 7 to 8 modules. I'll just put them again. And that is, you have core HCM, time tracking, leave and absence, performance management, learning management, benefits, payroll, advanced compensation, right? I think, yeah, I don't think there is any other section or extra module, but within these modules, there will be a lot of things. And as you remember, as I stated, Workday is all about practice. If you don't practice, you would not be able to learn anything. And why is that? Because it is more like mathematics, guys. The more practice you put in, the more knowledge you're going to get, the more time you will spend on the tenant, the more area of interest you will have. All right, then let's talk about business object, guys. This is the third topic of our first chapter. All right. And when I say business objects, I just informed you that Workday falls in the third category of the cloud computing model, which is software as a service. And we all know, when it is a software as a service, which means we will not get the exposure of the backend, we will not get the exposure of the database, we will not get the exposure of the front end. We will know nothing. Okay. So how do we actually understand the structure, the data structure, how the data is set up in the system, if we have to save the data, if you have to insert the data, if you have to retrieve the data, how do we do that? Because at the end of the day, this is also a software, this is also an application. It follows a structure, it follows a three-tier architecture. It has a front end, it has a back end, it has a business layer. But how do we access it? How do we use it? So business objects are more like tables of a database. And I'm sure everyone would know what is a table of a database, right? I mean, if you don't know, that's okay. Let me know. I will explain you. Workday has not exposed their database. Workday has not exposed um, how the data is stored in the system. So if the data is, I would not say the data is exposed, but I don't know how that storage is done in the backend system. If we don't know that, and um, if I have to retrieve data in other systems, you might be using SQL, right? So let's say for success factor like SAP or for Oracle or for any other system, you might be using SQL statements. Now, SQL statements, what would be there? Let's say I have to write, get the data from employee table, and I want to get the data for some employees. So I will mention like select first name, last name, gender um, from employee table, where the condition, whatever my condition is going to be, where employees are on leave for last 2 weeks, who were on leave for last 2 weeks. If I have to check that data, I can take it, right? Who are on sabbatical leave, I can go ahead and check it, right? So all those things are a very important role. It plays a very important role when it comes to um, finding the uh, right information. And why it plays a very important role, because if you don't know how to write that query, then you will not be able to find that data, correct?
Yes.
And that is the reason why people think that these are all technical things and I will not be able to do it. And Workday came in the market to remove that uh, logic, that even if you don't know how to write a query, you can still go ahead and retrieve the data from the system through configuration. Okay, and that's one of the other reason, as I stated, that this product is growing in the market, because 90% of the work that you're going to do in this application, it is all configuration. Even if I have to retrieve the data, I will be using reports. Okay, but if I have to create a report, first of all, I need to understand how the data is stored inside the system. And if I have to retrieve the data, what I have to do, what are the ways I can do it, right? And in order to understand that, we have to understand business object. So business object is just like a table of a database. The data is stored in each business object in the form of rows and columns. And there are thousands of business objects which is available in Workday, guys. Okay, so that makes it difficult to basically understand it without the challenges. I will be using this for my day-to-day activity. And as I stated, this course is going to be a complete hands-on course. So whatever we are going to talk, whatever we are going to learn going forward, everything I'm going to show it to you, and everything will be a hands-on, uh, work that we are going to do. So this is my search box, and this is the most important box that you have in Workday. Why? Because as a consultant, as I stated, Workday is more of a task-driven tool. Task-driven tool means I need to remember the task. Whatever I have to update, whatever I have to do, I will have to type it here. It's not necessary that I type everything completely. So for example, if I have to create a custom report, I will just say create custom report. Okay. And I'm going to get that task. But if I don't know how to create it or what task is required, I will not be able to type this, right? So this is important that everybody who is going to learn and become a Workday consultant, they have to be very familiar with this particular search box. And this is highly optimized search box. You don't need to write anything or everything completely. Okay. So now I'll first of all take you to a business object. And if I have to go into a business object, there is a task available. The task is BO. BO stands for business object. It's a syntax basically. And I'll put a colon. And let's say I will type in the name of the business object. You know, I need to type in BO. BO is a keyword which stands for business object. I'll put a colon and then I have to put the name of the business object. So guys, worker is the most fundamental business object that you would need to know, because without worker, workday is nothing. It will be used for nothing. Okay. So when I type in bo colon worker and I have to hit enter, I have to push enter on my keyboard. So it will search it. As I stated that this is one of the most important tool and business object. So this becomes very important that I have to use this. And if I have to use it, I have to get into it. It will take time to load. Now, the reason why it will take time to load, because this is one of the heaviest table of Workday. Okay, so let's wait. Yeah, you see, processing your request, please wait. Now, this is something you are seeing it because there is a reason behind. All right, till it loads, let me tell you what do you see in a business object. A business object basically has four important parts. Now, what are those parts? What do you see in a table, guys? So here also, you will see a very similar pattern, guys. When you look into this particular business object, I'm going to talk on Workday terminology so that it becomes, initially it might sound little difficult, but you will have to remember this. Okay. So when I talk about worker, this is a table in a database. So in Workday, we call it as a business object. And now when we see that business object, you have this option, right? So fields, related business object, data sources, and reports, right? Now when I say fields, basically these are all column names. As you have it in your Excel sheet, name, gender, date of birth, date of hiring, or date of joining, right? So similarly, all these fields are there. Now, if you see the number of fields available, there are 7,760 items. So those are the number of fields that you have. Field name, description, field source, and field type, right? Each one of them has very important role to play. Now, when I say field name, this is the name of the field that you put in. Okay. And the description helps you to understand what this particular field does. And then you have the field source and field type. Rest other things I will explain later on. Field source. Now, from where this field has come? This field has come from Workday side, or is it a field which has been created by you? Okay. So if you see, there are two types of field. standard field and custom field. So standard fields are those fields which are created by Workday, which is called as Workday delivered field. And then there are fields which is called as calculated. These are custom fields, guys. These are created by users like us. Now, custom field has a specific purpose. Why are we creating it? Okay. And when I say calculated, calculated is one of the custom fields that we have in Workday. Although this is one of the most important one, and that's the maximum you will be creating. The reason is calculated field helps us in making some calculation. Now, when I say it helps us in making some calculation, what does that mean? It has some associated functions. Associated functions. It means that if I am going to use any system in the sense, let's say I have to convert text to number or number to text. I need a function, right? And Workday has given that function. If I have to write some formula, how will I write the formula? I will use the calculated field, and there are multiple options available. I have, the things as if I need to create that. Those things are available. And so when we go into the technical part, when we go into reports, I will actually show you how to create calculated fields. And then I will give you the list of the calculated fields, which is there in Workday. There is a document, and you have to go through the document. The document will contain the context, it will contain the example, and it will also contain how you can test it or how you can create it at your site. Okay, does it make sense, guys? Are you all with me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to
Yes,
understand this
yes,
part?
yes.
Okay. Then comes field type. So field type, I'm sure you all would have heard that there is a data type associated. Now, what do you understand by data type? What is a data type?
What kind of data can reside in that field?
That is correct. So when I put a field or when I create a field, I have to specify a data type, that what kind of value that field is going to hold. Okay. And in Workday, basically that data type is called as field type. So there are 7 to 8 type of options available in Workday. So when I say number now or numeric basically means you can put number in that, right? It is a numeric field. Then you have multi-instance. Now this would look interesting. Why? Multi-instance is a list of values that you put in a field, and out of that you are choosing more than one value, like you're putting a checkbox. So for example, how will we define this? I'll say I will have to go ahead and search for a job, and the portal asks me, it asks that put 3 locations of your choice. Let's say I'm in India, I will say Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, right? I want the jobs in these 3 locations. So what I'm going to do, out of that list of cities that I'm going to see, I'm selecting multiple values in that. And that's the reason why it is said as multi-instance value. Does that make sense? What is multi-instance?
Yes.
Okay. So now we have understood numeric multi-instance. Okay, 2 things. Then we have single instance also. Single instance is just like the multi-instance. But the only thing there is a difference is we can have only one value selected in single instance. So for example, if I'm putting my address in the space where it says country, right? I click on that. When I click on that, I'll get the list of countries which are available on this globe. And out of that, I'm selecting only one country, right? Now, what is that? It is a single instance. Out of a list of value, I am only selecting one value. So it is called single instance. So now we know numeric, multi-instance, single instance. Let's see this one, which says Boolean. Now, Boolean is very simple, guys. Boolean means true or false, yes or no, zero or one, right? So this is more like a condition. If you want to set up anything where you want to put some values, whether it is zero or one, whether it is true or false. Okay, so let's say I have to retrieve the values based on certain condition, and I will say, give me the name of the employees who are above 60 years of age. In an organization, if you have people who is working with you for more than uh, 30 years, 35 years, there is a possibility that the person might have crossed 60, right? You may not be even aware. There is a possibility, unless there is a checks in place. There is somebody who is going to get an email or anything in that part, right? So, what happens when you have this Boolean field? You can, put it like a condition. Condition in the sense, you would say select first name, last name, gender from employee table where age is greater than 60, right? So here what I'm doing, I'm using a condition. Okay, so this is more like a condition.
Is
True
it
or
like
false?
true or false? Okay.
Yes, it is true or false. That's what I'm trying to say here. So true or false. Let's say I have lot of values, age, and the values are zero values. Zero in the sense age is not entered, or some of the age is blank, or something. Now, I don't want to show those values in my report. So I'll put a condition, a filter that display the name of only those employees whose age is not empty or not blank or does not equal to zero, right? So only those names would come whose value is there. So it is more like a Boolean statement. It will extract all the true values and it will show it to you, right? So that is about Boolean. Then I have currency. Currency is basically, the value of each country. Each country will have a different currency. So it has been specified in a way that you want to use it, use the data type or field type. Okay, then let's see what more we have. Yes, text. And text is very important. If you want to put anything in the form of alphanumeric or alphabets, you can use text, right? So I don't think there is anything more except of date and time. Yes. So there is one field which is called as date. So for example, if I have to use date of my birth, right? If I have to fill in the form, what would I do? If I'm doing it online, I'll get a calendar, right? I have to select the date and the year and will automatically select the day and the month, right? So that is where you have the date as the field type. But imagine I have to use date and time both of them together. Workday provides that facility also. So for example, let's say I have to schedule a report that every day at 10 a.m. Monday to Friday. I will not say every day, but weekdays, Monday to Friday. Every day at 10 a.m., one of the report has to run. And it should send an email to all the employees. Correct? So what would happen, guys? I will, um, you know, set up this particular option, and I will ask the person that, when this comes in the time, you have to perform the duty, right? So that's the reason your date and time also is very important, and that is also given by Workday to us. Okay, so is this clear? Field name, description, field source, and field type. So I give you an example that you have multiple values coming out of a list. So for example, I give you that you are trying to apply for a job. So when you go onto a portal, let's say Naukri.com or Dice or Monster or any of the portal, it will ask you, it will give you a list of cities that okay, in these cities, you can apply for job, and it will ask you that choose any 3 to 4 cities, and in that list there is more than 1,000 cities available, right? And you're choosing out of that 1,000, you're choosing 3 cities. So thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.